Are you thinking about buying a sewing machine? Well, I have a few suggestions about what to look for before you purchase one. I suggest 12 things you need to have on hand before your first sewing machine. So learning to sew is one of the most rewarding things you will ever do. I love making clothing, home decor items, and quilting. Give a person a quilt, you warm them for a while. Teach a person to quilt, they warm others for life. I've been sewing for more than 50 years and have made clothing, home decor, crafts, gifts, wedding dresses, bridesmaids dresses, and a plethora of quilts, not to mention tons of altering and mending. I buy all my sewing machines from a local sewing shop. I get them from the Sewing Nook in Amarillo, Texas. They're so helpful for all my service and my supply needs. Plus, they offer free classes on the machine you bought. It would be your best bet to purchase from a shop near you, especially if they offer the free classes. There's also a lot of options on the World Wide Web. I've added a link to a few below in the description. I have a fob that's still working beautifully after 21 years, and I recently purchased a Brother embroidery and sewing machine. It's a dream. I also own a Bernina baby lock serger. I guess I'm saying I'm not brand loyal because they're all good. Next, you should make sure that the machine you're looking at can function in all the ways that you want it to, depending on what you're interested in doing and depending on your skill level. A few $100s will buy a good basic machine. It can handle most clothing projects, quilting, and home decor or craft projects. For basic sewing, I suggest the machine has the following. You will be glad you did. A straight stitch right here. It's used in everyday situation. And an adjustable stitch length helps with gathering. You can make the stitch length longer. That's not the length. Here's the length. To where if you need to put in a basting stitch for gathering. A zigzag stitch. This is good for appliquing. You can put the stitches real close together and it makes a real beautiful satin stitch. A double zigzag stitch, which it goes this one here, back and forth in a zigzag. And it's good for darning tears and sewing on elastic. A blind hem stitch, this one here, or this one here. It's good for securing hems invisibly. Buttonhole stitch, which is here. And then the presser foot for a buttonhole stitch. It needs a bobbin winder to wind your bobbins. It's right over here. It's built into your machine. And be sure and get extra bobbins. It's good if they have a speed control, but it's okay if they don't. The needle down capability, you press this and then when you stop sewing, the needle lands down inside the material. That way it makes it a lot easier to pivot. Automatic needle threader is nice. Differential feed so that the top fabric feeds through the same as the bottom fabric so that your material doesn't get off. Good selection of presser feet. Find out which ones come with it and then which ones that you're able to buy separately. I definitely recommend a zipper foot. Mine looks like this. Maybe if I can get it to zoom in. There we go. And I recommend a 1/4 inch foot. And it's really good for quilting. You can run the material right along the side of it here and it makes for a real good for quilting. Free motion foot for quilting is good if you wanted to do your own free motion quilting. And an open toe foot It makes it easy to do a satin stitch inside there. It makes it easier to see when you're doing some applique. If you want to be more creative and add decorative stitching to anything, you can look for a machine with decorative stitches. That's all these other ones over here. So to conclude, think about what your purpose is for buying the machine. Will you just do mending? Will you make crafts? Will you make clothing? Do you want to quilt? The more you answer yes to these questions, the more money you want to spend. You can spend a few hundred or a few thousand. You have to consider your budget. Just remember, when you get better and better, you'll wish you'd spend a little bit more to have more bells and whistles. Maybe a mid-range one, and then get the high dollar one later when you're rocking this whole sewing thing. So, what are you waiting on? Get yourself a machine, and I'll have more posts on teaching you to sew. The machine in the link below is a good option for a beginner. So if you'll leave a comment below and let me know what you're interested in making. Thank you.